Goodbye, Daddy.
A man is released from prison after serving 15 years for stealing millions of diamonds on behalf of his employer, a Ukrainian mob boss named Rabbit. He makes his way into town, hooks up with the waitress, and steals a car. He then visits an old acquaintance in Manhattan, a cross-dressing hairstylist named Job. He demands the location of his former lover and accomplice, Anastasia, destroying Job's computers until he gives up the address of one Carrie Hopewell. After leaving the salon, he is quickly chased across the city by Rabbit's men, escalating to a car chase and a shootout in the middle of the city. He narrowly escapes, heading towards Banshee, Pennsylvania, where Carrie resides. To pass the time, he visits a local bar called The Forge, owned by the former prizefighter, Sugar Bates. Two thugs walk in looking to rob it when the newly arrived sheriff-to-be, Lucas Hood, thwarts them. The ensuing altercation results in the deaths of both the sheriff and the thieves. Sugar sends the man on his way, offering to handle the situation. That night, he visits the address and discovers Anna is living under the name of Carrie Hopewell, married to the town's district attorney, Gordon, with their two kids, Deva and Max. Dissatisfied that his former lover has moved on, he gets more frustrated when he discovers that the diamonds he entrusted to Anna were stolen when she tried to fence them. He later returns to the bar to help Sugar bury the corpses. He picks up a call on Lucas' phone and decides to assume his identity as the town's new sheriff-to-be. He calls Job and asks him to hack into law enforcement databases to work on his cover. The next day, Lucas meets with the mayor, Dan Kendall, who explains that the entire town is under the control of business owner and criminal entrepreneur Kai Proctor. Dan takes him to the Cotty-turned-police station and introduces him to his deputies, Emmett Yonners, Siobhan Kelly, and Brock Lotus. Brock shows Lucas around town when they witness the Moody Boys harass a group of Amish men. Lucas jumps in to intervene, and a brawl ensues. Kai arrives and stops the fight, forcing the group's leader, Cole, to apologize to Lucas.
We'll be pounding a civilian here.
Set you up with some nice steaks.
It later emerged that Kai was a former Amishman who had abandoned his faith to pursue his illegal enterprises. Kai calls Cole to the slaughterhouse and reveals that his estranged father was one of the Amish they were harassing, and ruthlessly beats him up.
I was just running my mouth. I didn't know he was your father.
Meanwhile, Rabbit sends his men to find Job, who was surprised to discover they were working for the crime boss that Lucas was running away from. He gives them the slip after taking a few punches from them. He runs out to the back, where his assistant is escaping with the backup files in a getaway car, and he decisively blows up the salon.
Oh, okay, I'll get the file.
Rabbit's right-hand man survives the blast and returns to his boss, who orders him to find Lucas and Carrie quickly. Before he was sworn in as sheriff, Lucas stole the championship belt from a local pawn shop and gave it to Sugar as a thank you for his help. In honor of their new sheriff, Kai throws a party and invites everyone, including Gordon, the district attorney who recently charged Kai with racketeering. Carrie was surprised to see Lucas, who she thought had already left town. Away from the gathering, Lucas pulls Carrie aside and asks her to open the safe he stole, but she refuses and walks away. Cole comes up from behind and knocks Lucas down with a pipe. He walks into the party uninvited, shooting his gun, and aims for Kai. Before he could pull the trigger, Lucas shot Cole from behind, much to everyone's shock, killing him. Lucas is haunted by nightmares of the past. He keeps reliving the time when he led the cops away so Anna could escape with the diamonds they stole from Rabbit, for which he spent the last 15 years in prison. At present, Lucas shows up at one of Carrie's open houses and confronts her about his lingering feelings, but she pushes him away, determined to move on.
What are you doing here?
Same as everyone else. Anna.
My name is Carrie.
Meanwhile, Deva skips school and hangs out with her junkie friends. Her boyfriend Reed takes her to a drug den operated by local dealer Hansen, later revealed to be working for Proctor. She grows uneasy when she sees the inner workings of a drug operation. Hansen mass produces the drug behind Kai, intent on selling it at a local barn rave that he has organized. He invites Deva and her friends to the party and urges them to tell others about it. Lucas reports to the station, where a furious Brock waits for him, frustrated that their new sheriff is late to work on his first day. Lucas tells him to back down when Kai arrives bearing gifts, thankful for saving his life the other day when Cole tried to kill him. He warns Lucas that the Moody boys are resentful after having lost their brother. He offers to take care of the problem quietly, but Lucas turns him down.
You took care of that. It could go bad pretty fast. The reason I stopped in is to warn you about the Moody brothers.
When Kai leaves, Lucas calls Job, who, despite the trouble he went through, informs him that his cover is safe for now. Job explains that apart from the estranged wife and son he hasn't seen in years, Lucas Hood had virtually no living relatives or close friends. That night, Lucas returns to the Forge, where the Moody clan is holding a wake for Cole. Cole's widow spots Lucas and confronts him. The vengeful brothers Marcus and Dex come out and hold Lucas at gunpoint. Cole's widow tries to get them to stand down, but when they refuse, Sugar holds a shotgun at them and forces them to return to the wake. Lucas blows off steam and takes Rebecca Bowman, a devout Amish girl by day, but a rebellious party girl by night.
Why don't you make me? Anything you do say can be used against you in a court of law.
Back to his place to have a one-night stand. The next day, an Amish elder finds out about the rave and immediately reports it to the police. Lucas and his deputies prepare to move in on the rave, but instead of following standard police procedure, Lucas decides to go undercover to find out who is in charge and take him down before panic sets in. He breaks in and takes down Hansen's men. He finally finds Hansen, but before he can move in on him, he gets spotted. Things quickly got out of control. As Hansen fires his weapon, the crowd frantically rushes outside, creating a diversion for his escape. Lucas runs after him when he hears Deva shouting for help. It turns out that Hansen sold a tainted batch of drugs to several teens, including Deva's boyfriend, Reed. Lucas runs after Hansen, who escapes capture, but not before taking down a few of his men. Hansen returns to Kai's home, who is furious at him for dealing drugs behind his back and selling a tainted batch in Banshee. Kai is upset that Hansen ruined his plans after carefully establishing an expansive network to distribute the drugs outside the county. He then cuts Hansen's finger with a knife and feeds it to his Rottweiler. He offers Hansen a 60-second head start, but the dog still catches up to him and rips him apart. Paramedics arrived at the scene but were unable to revive Reed, later revealed to be the state senator's son. Lucas offers to drive a distraught Deva home, trying to comfort her about what just happened. Deva runs to his father's arms while Carrie looks at Lucas from the window above.
Sheriff! Sheriff!
Oh no! Reed! No!
Carrie sneaks into a building in New York City and drops in on the unsuspecting Rabbit, later revealed to be her father. She holds him at gunpoint and returns the bag of diamonds that they stole in exchange for her freedom and to leave her family alone. Rabbit agrees under the condition that she also throws in Lucas. Carrie knocks him out with a sedative and kisses him on the cheek before bidding him farewell.
I can't do that.
I want him.
At Banshee, Kai works with the local Native American tribe leader, Benjamin Longshadow, to promote their new casino. He invites MMA prizefighter Sanchez for an exhibition match to spar with the town's Marines. Sanchez taunts Lucas into fighting him, but he refuses. Worried that his face would show up on TV, and that Rabbit would find out where he is.
You want a shot at the title? Go easy on him. I'd be scared of me too.
Instead, Lucas questions Kai about the drugs they found on the body of the state senator's son. Kai claims to know nothing about it, but given Lucas's expression, he isn't convinced. At Reed's funeral, Gordon thanks Lucas for his help with Diva the other night and invites him for dinner, to which he accepts, much to Carrie's distress. When Gordon leaves them alone, Lucas asserts his right to be upset, given his 15 years of incarceration and neglect.
You used to be kind.
Get locked up. Forgotten about for 15 years.
He returns to the forge, where she sees Rebecca again, to whom Sugar later calls Kai. Although hesitant, he sleeps with her again. Kai, who later turns out to be her uncle, is waiting for Rebecca in his car when she steps outside. He reprimands her for continuing to rebel against her upbringing, much like he did. She claims that she wanted to be like him and get everything that he wanted, but Kai explains the consequences of his actions. That night, Carrie visits Lucas and throws him the bag of diamonds, begging him to leave, but he refuses, claiming he will not be bought.
Just take them and go. You can start a new life somewhere.
I'm not going anywhere.
At the casino, a cocktail waitress brings a bottle of champagne to Sanchez's trailer at his request. After consuming some champagne and using a lot of cocaine, the two started fooling around, which suddenly became increasingly rough. The waitress tries to resist, but Sanchez turns violent and proceeds to beat and violate her. Lucas and Siobhan visit the girl at the hospital and discover the horrific events.
So you and Mr. Sanchez being in bed together was consensual?
He kicked me, and he punched me.
After which they hurriedly rush to the casino to arrest Sanchez at the pre-fight cocktail party. Worried, Kai tries to convince Lucas to wait until the fight tomorrow, but he refuses and confronts Sanchez. Sanchez refuses to go quietly and tells Lucas that if he wanted to arrest him, he would have to use force. Lucas steps into the ring, but when Sanchez doesn't appear to be willing, he throws a punch that surprises everyone, and it quickly escalates into a vicious brawl. Lucas endures a significant amount of punishment, yet he skillfully maneuvers by biting and clawing his way to victory. He brutally breaks the fighter's fingers and arm, while the stunned group of onlookers could do nothing but witness the horror. After Lucas beat Sanchez nearly to death, Siobhan arrested him for what he did to the cocktail waitress. Sugar helps a battered Lucas home when a displeased Kai shows up at the bar. Kai confronts him for his poor decision and tries to convince Lucas to join him, but he refuses, claiming that he isn't one to be bought, unlike his predecessors. Lucas claims that, unlike everyone else, he isn't afraid of him, to which Kai insists that he should be. He taunts Kai to show him why, but he states that he isn't ready to give up on him yet and leaves. Meanwhile, one of the spectators captured the fight on video and uploaded it to the internet.
Which makes you dangerous.
I helped build it, and I bled for it. I haven't given up on you just yet.
Why don't you show me why? Right now.
Lucas returns to his old ways and tries to steal a painting from the Harrisburg State Museum, but he sets off the alarm and gets trapped inside. He reaches out to Job for help when Carrie suddenly calls Lucas, telling him to stay away from her family. Switching between calls, Lucas inadvertently reveals to Carrie that he is on a job. Lucas starts hyperventilating from past trauma, and Carrie helps him calm down. Police are already on the scene when Job enters and opens the door. Lucas steals the cop's uniform, but when he walks outside, he gets spotted and chased across town. Carrie unexpectedly shows up and rescues him when the cops surround him. Once in the clear, Carrie tells him that he only saved him to avoid drawing attention to them and stay off Rabbit's radar. The next day, Kat, Cole's wife, warns Lucas that the Moody boys are still looking for revenge for their brother's death, but Lucas dismisses her concern. State Senator Schumacher waits for Lucas in his office, adamant on finding justice for his son's death. Lucas brings in Diva to help with the case, hoping she can identify Hansen's men, and she quickly recognizes Arno Weber from the pictures. Lucas and Emmett pay Arno a visit at the neo-Nazi enclave, to which its members show hostility towards them. Arno tries to escape, but Emmett catches him and breaks his nose. To avoid prison for selling drugs to local teens, Arno pulls out a severed hand from the freezer, which he claims belongs to Hansen. He claims to have seen Kai and Burton pulling a body bag at the slaughterhouse. When Lucas doubts him, Arno shows him the video he had of Kai and Burton disposing of the body. Arno insists the arm belongs to Hansen, claiming to recognize the tattoo he personally did. With an eyewitness and incriminating evidence that ties Kai to Hansen's murder, Lucas and Emmett drive to his home to arrest him, and he willingly surrenders. En route, the Moody Boys drive them off the cliff and take Lucas and Kai hostage. Marcus says they're lucky to have caught both Lucas and Kai, but Dex is worried about their families, and that Kai wasn't part of the plan. While they try to beat him up, Lucas fights back and bites Marcus's ear off. Dex points the gun at him when Emmett shows up from behind and stops them. Lucas decides to let them go, claiming that they need to focus on bringing Kai in. Seeing them bloodied, Kai's attorney quickly assumed they assaulted him, but Lucas slammed him against the wall and scared him off. Mayor Kendall visits Kai in prison, who reveals he has a history with Dan's father. Kendall claims he will not stop until he breaks, but Kai pulls him by the neck and threatens him instead. In court, the judge decides to let Kai out on bail, given the slew of previous charges that have been dropped against him. Kai orders Burton to investigate the eyewitness that the prosecution claims has evidence against him. That night, Sugar approaches Lucas and claims that he wants in on the next job, but Lucas refuses, worried that he will screw up what Sugar has going for him. Sugar explains that, although he has his life savings in the bar, it won't matter once he is gone.
You think I want to spend what's left of my life pouring beers and breaking up brawls?
You too, yawners. I'll bring the wrath of God down and hold the court.
Cat Moody waits for Lucas by the stairway, wondering why he let the Moody Boys go, and warns that they will keep coming for him. The night ends with the two hooking up, while Carrie, torn by the memories and feelings she still has for Lucas, drops by his place only to witness Cat leaving. She brings with her the necklace that Lucas gave her 15 years ago. Lucas was later surprised to see Job waiting for him by his car, claiming he had grown tired of waiting for the money Lucas had promised him. Later, Brock keeps watch over Arno at a motel as their eyewitness in the murder trial. They suddenly hear a knock on the door, but when Brock prepares for them to break in, the wall behind them explodes. Brock loses consciousness, but not before seeing Arno get taken away. Job moves to Banshee and makes plans for a heist, with Lucas and Sugar on an armored truck from the Kinaho Moon Casino. A band of marauding bikers, known as the Kindred, makes its way to the town. At the annual Spirit Festival, Carrie catches their eye, and they corner her as she returns to the car to grab his son's inhaler. They force her into an alley and pin her to the ground, when Sugar witnesses it and tries to convince them to let her go. Sugar defeated two bikers before someone hit him from behind with a pipe. The group leaves one of the bikers with Carrie and forces his way into her. Siobhan notices the group and follows them when she sees one of the bikers on top of Carrie. Siobhan orders the man to drop his gun, but Carrie doesn't let him and skillfully removes the cartridge from his weapon, forcing Siobhan to shoot him dead.
Sugar! Please, drop the gun!
Meanwhile, Lucas meets with Brock and Gordon, to whom FBI agent Dean Xavier introduces himself, claiming to have the department's interest in Kai's indictment. Although they may still have the victim's hand and Arno's cell phone as evidence, Xavier claims that their case is circumstantial at best. even with their eyewitness. Now that they've lost Arno, this case may prove to be difficult to win. Xavier states that the FBI assigned him to monitor the situation until the grand jury arrives. At their hideout, the kindred argue whether to stay and avenge their brother or move on. Their leader declares they will stay until they have avenged their brother.
So nobody is going anywhere until our brother is avenged.
The next day, the gang rides through town and terrorizes the festival, dragging passers-by and destroying food stands. Lucas and Brock try to stop them, but they are outnumbered, and the group slips past them. The mayor holds an emergency town meeting, where the citizens demand that the festival be called off. When the mayor tells them that there is no need to call it off, they question his plan for their safety should the gang return. Kai interrupts and claims that he will have his personal security guards protect the festival. Lucas claims that everything is under control and reassures everyone of their safety. The Amish elders approach Lucas and ask him to arrest Rebecca for stabbing one of the riders with a knife, admonishing her actions as being against their faith. Lucas refuses to take her in, claiming that she was only defending herself. The kindred continue to stalk Siobhan, slashing her car tires at work. At night, the group shows up at her home and starts shooting, luring her outside with gunfire. 2 riders stay behind and burn her house to the ground. Firefighters showed up at the scene, but it was already too late. Lucas orders Emmett to take Siobhan back to his place while they sort the matter out. Lucas returns to the forge, where Kai and Burton wait for him. Kai explains that his men spotted one of the bikers at a liquor store in Danville. Seeing a biker in the trunk, Kai says they have identified the hideout's location. He wonders what Lucas plans to do with them, claiming that if he arrested them, they'd only make bail, but Lucas claims he isn't planning to arrest them. Lucas wonders what's in it for him, but judging by the look on his face, he wants something in exchange. That night, Lucas storms their hideout, armed with nothing but police batons. He takes them out one by one, leaving their leader for last. Job helps put the bodies in the back of the van, and Lucas instructs him to dump them in Cleveland, where the police have active warrants for their arrest. Before he left, Job handed Lucas an ID for Officer Paul Hibbert. Later, Xavier was surprised to discover that Paul Hibbert, an evidence officer, had removed the evidence against Kai. Xavier reports back to his superior and requests to stay longer at Banshee to investigate more. An ex-con named Leonard Wicks Vanderwyck passes through Banshee when he recognizes Lucas from their time together in prison. In a flashback to when Lucas first arrived in prison 15 years ago, Rabbit hired a menacing prisoner known as the Albino to torture Lucas every day.
I know just how deep to go without killing you.
Near death, Lucas was taken to the prison infirmary, where he met Wicks, who was working there. With the albino putting a target on his head, Wicks tells him to accept his fate, with nowhere he can hide from his assailant. Wicks claims that the only safe places are the infirmary or solitary confinement. After recovering from his injuries, no one would approach Lucas, fearing they themselves would become a target of the albino. Wicks suggests making a deal with him, but to get an audience, he would need to talk to Billy B., the albino's boy toy. He tries to make a deal with the albino, but he refuses, claiming that it would go against his deal with Rabbit. Determined to buy himself time, Lucas takes a shiv to Billy's face, earning him 3 months in solitary.
See, my deal with Mr. Rabbit makes that a conflict of interest. You understand.
Rabbit doesn't need to know.
Lucas used that time to prepare physically for when he goes to face the albino again. When he was back in Gen Pop, Wicks prepared a shiv for Lucas and informed him that the albino was making a move on him later at the yard. Once the guards disappear, the albino comes out and drags him inside. The albino orders him to kneel, determined to make Lucas give him the head. He pulls a razor to his neck, but when the albino wasn't paying attention, Lucas pulls the razor and uses it to castrate him. The albino slams him against the wall, but Lucas fights back and has him in a chokehold. When the albino falls to his knees, Lucas breaks his neck with a weight plate. Since then, no one in prison has bothered him ever again. At present, Wicks gets himself arrested so he can meet with Lucas, hoping to use their shared history to his advantage. Recognizing Wicks, Lucas takes him out to lunch. Worried he will mess up his plans, Lucas buys him new clothes and a bus ticket, along with $2,500, before warning him never to come back. Meanwhile, Kai meets with the ailing Kinaho chieftain, Benjamin Longshadow. Kai worries that Alex, Benjamin's son, won't carry out their promise when Benjamin dies, but he reassures him that he will honor the promise made between them. Benjamin worries that they cannot build the new casino because someone still refuses to sell. Kai claims that he can convince the Reverend to sell.
Hey, Wicks. Don't come back.
And I'll treat Alex with the same respect I've treated you.
My son will fulfill my promises.
Later, Kai visits the preacher and tries to sweeten the offer by doubling the payout. But the preacher still refuses. Left with no choice, Kai blackmails the preacher with pictures of him sleeping with his wife. The preacher refuses to believe it, but Kai explains that it was taken before she met the preacher and married him. When he still hesitates, Kai reveals that, unless he signs the paper, he will release the video he took with them together. Wicks takes the money Lucas gave him and goes straight to a casino. He buys a hooker and spends the night playing craps. Everything was fine initially, but once his luck changed for the worse, Wicks lashed out and started a fight. It didn't take long for the casino's security to apprehend him.
Swipe now! Oh, shit. Now, motherfucker!
A frustrated Lucas picks Wicks up from the casino, where Alex warns him that he should never set foot in their establishment again, or they will handle the matter personally. Lucas takes Wicks back to the forge and berates him, reminding him of the deal they had. Wicks goes back on their agreement and decides to stay in Banshee, threatening to expose Lucas's past if he does not go along with it. He explains that he has no options left, worried that he'd soon be back in prison if left alone. Despite feeling conflicted about his choice, Lucas heeds Sugar's guidance and ends Wicks's life, fearing that he could potentially undermine their plans. They throw his corpse to the bottom of the lake behind the forge. Nearby, Carrie calls Rabbit and promises to deliver Lucas to him by the end of the week. She hopes this would make things right for her family, but Gordon confronted her about her recent bizarre behavior, especially around Lucas.
The way I see it, I'm not the one who should be taking orders. I have some knowledge about you that nobody else in this town has.
About taking everyone close down with him.
Lucas, Job, and Sugar discuss their plan to rob the local casino. Job claims that they would not be able to hit the truck once it left the casino, but Sugar worries that hitting the casino is suicide. Suddenly, Lucas receives a call from Carrie, who tells him that she has found a fence for the diamonds and asks for a meeting. Job doubts that Carrie has conveniently found a fence now, given that she previously struggled to locate one. Sugar also thinks it's a terrible idea, but Lucas dismisses their concerns and still meets with Carrie. Once they meet, Carrie pretends to struggle with hot wiring a car, but when Lucas leans in to help, she knocks him out with a sedative.
She is not her anymore, and whoever she is, she's going to get you killed.
Hannah, what are you doing?
What I have to do.
Lucas later wakes up at a motel, handcuffed to the bed. He explains that Rabbit will still not let her go, but Carrie insists that she made a deal to return the diamonds and deliver Lucas in exchange for her freedom and her family's safety. At a local drugstore, Emmett was buying a pregnancy test when he stumbled into a robbery. In the confusion, Lance, one of the robbers, shoots the cashier while Nathan has Emmett at gunpoint. Emmett starts praying, to which Nathan decides to let him go. Realizing what happened, Emmett gives chase and reports the robbery. He chases them to the high school, where they force their way inside, grabbing Janie Kendall, the mayor's wife, hostage along with the students who came in on a Saturday for detention.
Step away from that car! Let it go now!
Brock and Siobhan arrive at the scene, where they find the robbers barricaded inside the gym with hostages. Unable to reach Lucas, Brock takes command when FBI agent Dean Xavier tells them that he has scrambled a SWAT team all the way from Philadelphia. Lance calls Brock and tells him of their demands: a getaway car and their safe passage. Rabbit and his men drive to the motel where Carrie left Lucas handcuffed. When Lucas watches the news report of the hostage situation, he sees that Deva is one of them, so he frantically tries to free himself before Rabbit arrives. It took all of his strength to free one of his arms when Job arrived and handpicked the handcuff. Lucas wonders how Job found him, and Job claims that he followed the tracker he had placed on Lucas's phone. Rabbit arrives at the motel, but Lucas and Job are long gone, and he trashes the place in frustration. With the situation escalating, Lance and Nathan started arguing. In his frustration, Lance pulls Janie to the bleachers to have his way with her, but they are interrupted by a call from Brock, who says they have prepared the vehicle as requested. In exchange, Brock asks him to free their hostages, but Lance only agrees to free 4 of the students. As they were about to get up, Deva and her friend bolted, and Lance gave chase. Lucas arrives at the scene, much to Carrie's shock. He brazenly walks up to the gymnasium unarmed and tries to talk to Nathan. Realizing that Nathan doesn't have the guts to shoot him, Lucas slowly approaches him and wrestles the gun, shooting him in the scuffle. The other hostages quickly run outside, while Lucas searches for Deva. Lance catches up to her and uses her as a shield against Lucas and the SWAT team. At Lucas's signal, Deva drops to the floor, at which point he then decisively shoots Lance in the head. Lucas leads Deva and her friend outside to rejoin their parents. That night, Lucas returns to his room, where he finds Carrie waiting for him. He pulls his gun on her, but is unable to shoot her. Carrie embraces him and apologizes. Lucas pushes her away, but she takes her clothes off, offering herself up to him. Finally, Lucas and Carrie slept together after 15 long years. Although the hostage situation was resolved, Rabbit watches television and quickly recognizes Lucas in a news report. He quickly sends Ulrich, his right-hand man, to Banshee, who then charms a waitress into telling him everything she knows about the small town. Carrie wakes up after spending the night with Lucas. As she prepares to leave, Lucas begs her to stay, but she refuses, claiming that Anna is dead and that last night was her way of saying goodbye, since she didn't get to do so the last time. Carrie admits that Deva is his daughter and asks him to leave them alone for good if he truly loves her. When he refuses, Carrie threatens to kill him the next time they meet. As she walks to her car, she hears someone following her. She turns around and is surprised to find it was Ulrich, Rabbit's henchman. Ulrich forces her into the trunk of his car and is about to drive away when Lucas catches up to them and holds a gun to his head.
Shit. I have to find a safe home for your daughter! I'm sorry, but I have a family to protect.
It's my family!
Anna, your Anna is dead.
No.
Meanwhile, Rebecca Bowman is kicked out of her family home after they discover her belongings, which conflict with their beliefs. Her own father shuns her, so she turns to her mother, but she too is unable to do anything about it. With nowhere else to go, Rebecca shows up at Kai's home, who welcomes her with open arms, having felt the same when he was cast out. Kai explains how he was cast out after fighting back against the thugs who attacked their produce wagons. Kai leaves Rebecca at his home to visit the hospital, where Benjamin Longwood is on his deathbed. He tries to be respectful and to follow their traditions, but Alex, the chief's son, proves cold and unwelcoming. Kai then proceeds to visit his old home on the Amish farmland to confront Rebecca's father for abandoning his daughter, just like how he was ostracized for defending his family. When his father arrives, Kai says that, although he had tolerated their behavior before, he made it clear he could have kicked them out to show them what it feels like to be an outcast.
You are a criminal and a trespasser. You all live here because I choose to allow it.
Lucas and Carrie argue about what to do next. Worried that Rabbit has figured out where they have been hiding all this time, Carrie blames Lucas for endangering her family, but he points out that even if he hadn't found her, she knows she would eventually have to face her past, which is why she has continued training, used fake license plates, and lied to his family every single day. Ulrich admits he was the one who told Rabbit about them 15 years ago. Suddenly Rebecca shows up, and Lucas sends her off, driving her back into town while leaving Carrie to watch Ulrich. When he drops her off, Rebecca kisses her on the lips, which Burton, who has been following her around, witnesses. Burton reports back to Kai, who is furious when he learns that she has been sleeping with the sheriff on the same day she was kicked out of her home. Rebecca apologizes, claiming that he is all she has left, and Kai forgives her. Gordon wakes up, realizing his wife never came home, and grows suspicious given her recent bizarre behavior. He tears through the bedroom, rummaging wildly through drawers and flipping over furniture, desperate to uncover what she's been keeping from him. He eventually finds the locket inside an envelope, the same locket that Lucas gave her 15 years ago.
Rabbit must want you before me. Ulrich hasn't checked in yet. Bullshit.
Left alone, Carrie tells Ulrich that she knows he's always loved her, hence why he must have told Rabbit about them. Ulrich breaks free from the handcuffs, and the two fight to the death, with neither one letting up. Battered and worn out from the fighting, Carrie picks up a sharp wooden plank and tries to stab him with it, but Ulrich pulls it from her and runs it to her side. Still breathing, Ulrich picks her up, but Carrie pulls out the plank and stabs him in the back multiple times. When he falls to the ground, she uses what strength she has left to stab Ulrich in the neck with it, killing him. Before the deed, Carrie is reminded of the good old days when she, Ulrich, and Lucas were close. When Carrie doesn't answer the phone, Lucas hurriedly returns home to find Ulrich dead and an unconscious Carrie on the floor in her own pool of blood. He desperately wakes her, and when she finally comes to, he picks her up and leaves for the hospital.
I did love you.
Lucas hurriedly drives Carrie to the hospital, where medical staff immediately admit her to the ICU due to her severe injuries. Gordon runs into Lucas at the hospital after discovering that his wife was recently admitted. Gordon questions Lucas about what happened, to which Lucas replies that an unidentified attacker assaulted her. Job and Sugar bury Ulrich's body and ask Lucas what his plan is. Lucas tells them to stay away from him, worried he will drag them both into his mess. Lucas walks away, but not before declaring that he will kill Rabbit. Elsewhere, Rabbit leads his armed men to Banshee, worried that they have not heard from Ulrich since then. Gordon confronts Carrie as soon as she wakes up, but she dodges the question and insists that their kids are in danger. She convinces him to get her out of the hospital and drives back home to pick up Diva. Carrie hurriedly drives to Max's school, but her wounds reopen, and she passes out at the entrance. The school nurse patches her up, but by the time Carrie is ready to get her son, it is already too late, and Rabbit abducts Max.
Max! Max! Where's Max?
Carrie is taken in at the police station to figure out what happened and who took Max, but she refuses to answer. Lucas tries to calm her down, but Gordon arrives with Diva and demands to talk to his wife alone. FBI agent Dean Xavier claims that they have taken jurisdiction and that everyone now reports to them. Kai takes in Rebecca as his newfound protege and takes her with him to the construction site of the new casino. Alex has been secretly meeting with new investors, excluding Kai, and has broken the promise his father made to him. Alex tries to kick him off the site, but Kai proves that he still holds power, and with just a whistle, the construction workers stop working and leave. Alex later brings in Jeffrey, a big fella who owes the Kanaho Moon Casino a lot of money. Alex offers to clear his record in return for a favor, which, based on the conversation, is related to Kai Proctor.
To stay out of the tribe's business, and then I'm gonna stop being polite. The only thing for you to do is to honor that deal.
Later, Lucas meets with Kai at the slaughterhouse and asks for help. When Lucas admits to sleeping with Rebecca, the two exchange punches in a bloody fight. When they got exhausted, Lucas convinced him to help, promising Kai a favor in return. Kai stresses once more that Rebecca is off limits, and Lucas nods in agreement. At a warehouse, Max struggled to breathe, and he explained to his captors that he had asthma. Carrie returns to the house and digs up a case of weapons she buried in their backyard. Gordon confronts her, but she dismisses him, claiming that it isn't the time, and insists on focusing on getting Max back. When she walked into the house, she was surprised to find Rabbit waiting with Diva. Carrie quickly draws her weapon, but immediately realizes it is of no use. Gordon walks in, and when he sees Rabbit, he grabs the gun and holds him at gunpoint. Carrie talks him down, claiming that if he kills Rabbit, his men will immediately kill Max. Rabbit then pulls the gun from Gordon and tells them to sit like a family should. Carrie quickly begs for her family's life, but when Rabbit discovers that Ulrich is dead, he coldly tells her that he will not show her mercy, and walks away with the nebulizer that Max needs. Before Rabbit leaves, Carrie declares that she will kill him, but Rabbit claims that she already did. Later, Rabbit confronts Lucas at the police station. Lucas quickly draws his weapon at him, but he realizes that if he shoots him, Max will be dead. He asks Lucas what he wanted, and Rabbit replies that he wanted to take one last look at him, stating that Lucas's face will be the last thing he sees. When Rabbit exits, Lucas gets wary of his surroundings, worried that Rabbit's men are waiting to ambush him. He slowly backs into his office when he hears the sound of guns being cocked, so he quickly ducks in desperation. In a flashback, Lucas gets close to a counselor evaluating his early release. As his parole hearing approached, Lucas discovered that the counselor worked for Rabbit. She relays a message for Rabbit, stating that Lucas will not be released on parole, and that, once he has served his sentence, Rabbit will be waiting for him outside. In his frustration, Lucas lunges at the counselor and throws a couple of punches before the guards apprehend him. In the present, Rabbit confronts Lucas at the police station, claiming that he wanted to see his face for the last time. As Rabbit departs, the sudden cocking of guns from behind forces Lucas into a corner. Rabbit's men riddle the police station with gunfire. Lucas is left with no choice but to hide behind a car, but when Rabbit's men try to finish him off, Proctor and Burton arrive to save him, as promised. In the morning, the deputies and the FBI were surprised by what had happened to the police station. FBI agent Dean Xavier interrogates Lucas, who responds that Rabbit's men suddenly began firing. Trying to figure out what happened, Xavier stops him from leaving, but Lucas insists, surrendering both his badge and gun. At the forge, Sugar and Job try to find Rabbit's hideout. Carrie walks through the door and joins them, intent on helping them find her son. Lucas returns to the bar, but when he sees Carrie, he feels guilty for Rabbit finding them. He contacts Rabbit and offers to surrender himself in exchange for Carrie and her family's safety. Later, Gordon shows up at the bar and informs them that Max has returned home safely, with a message from Rabbit saying that Carrie is already forgiven. Hearing it, she quickly realizes that Lucas has offered himself in exchange for Max. Job uses Lucas's cell phone to track his location. Gordon stops Carrie, claiming that they should leave it to the FBI. When she insists on going, Gordon makes her choose between saving Lucas and returning to her family. Carrie walks out to join Job and Sugar, revealing her decision. Jeffrey shows up at Kai's home, ordered by Alex to assassinate him. He sneaks up from behind and tries to strangle him, but Burton arrives and kills him instead. Rebecca walks downstairs and is horrified to see a dead man, but Burton tells her to check on her uncle.
You go with them, you're making that choice yourself.
Meanwhile, Nola and Alex were having dinner when a car screeched outside and dropped off a bloody bag with Jeffrey's head inside. Nola, Alex's sister, is intrigued by this turn of events and decides to stay in town for a while. Brock stops them en route, discovering the trio armed and prepared for war. Siobhan and Emmett join them, to which Carrie explains that Lucas has surrendered himself to Rabbit in exchange for Max. Although hesitant, Brock orders his deputies to join them to rescue Lucas from Rabbit and his men. Carrie sneaks inside to create a distraction, but the others are spotted and a shootout occurs. While Sugar and Brock sustain injuries, the others successfully eliminate Rabbit's men. Rabbit tortures Lucas and was about to kill him when Carrie arrives and guns down 2 of Rabbit's men. After saying goodbye, Carrie shoots Rabbit and runs to check on Lucas. When the FBI arrives at the scene, Rabbit disappears, leaving behind only the picture of himself and Carrie. Carrie returns home and is relieved to find Max as well, but Gordon was so hurt by Carrie's choice over her family that he decides to leave with the children. Mayor Dan Kendall sits on a ledge at the casino construction site, distraught over his failed marriage, claiming he was too preoccupied with taking down Kai. Unbeknownst to him, Kai and Rebecca arrive at the casino. Intent on teaching Alex a lesson, Kai blows up the construction site, unknowingly killing the mayor as well. Meanwhile, a group of hunters comes across the remains of the real Lucas Hood, which Xavier is determined to investigate. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.